Hi everyone, this is James here from linguamaterna.com, and in this video I want to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of setting short-term goals on a week-by-week basis in your language learning. In order to make sure that you're continuing to make progress and work on your weaknesses on a week-by-week basis, I suggest setting short-term goals that allow you to hone in or focus on some of the things that are causing you problems. The reason for this is that if you don't have a plan and you're trying to work on 4 or 5 different elements of the language at once, you're not really going to learn any of them particularly well. You might get a decent overall idea of 4 or 5 different language points or structures that you're working on. But on the other hand, if you were to choose just one point to focus in on and spend 1 week on it, you can learn this point really well and then be able to use it very comfortably in real life situations. One thing I like to do when I have conversations in my target language is to pay attention to the situations where I get stuck or where I don't know what to say. Because in a conversation, this is like a real life setting, I'm actually using the language, which is, at the end of the day, my goal. So if I'm in a situation where I'm trying to use the language to have a conversation with somebody, and there's something I can't say, or something I don't understand, or a structure that I'm getting mixed up, then I know that I need to work on that. And because it's occurred in a real life conversation, and it's not just some random phrase in a textbook, I know that this is something that I'm likely to want to use in real life. If it's come up in one conversation, there's a pretty good chance it's going to come up again in another one. So that lets me know that that's something that perhaps I want to hone in on and focus on and really fix. And this is where these short-term weekly goals come in. It's good to identify some of your weaknesses, choose one, and set a weekly goal to master that particular issue or weakness over the course of the week. Now, this requires being specific, so you don't want this to be something really big. You need to hone in on specific things. But for example, you might say, choose a particular topic. Maybe there's a particular topic you want to be able to have a conversation about in your target language, but right now you're lacking the vocabulary or some of the kind of key phrases that you'll need in order to be able to maintain that conversation. Okay, then identify how that conversation might happen and what you might say or what you might need to understand in that situation. Then focus on learning that vocabulary and repeating it, listening to it, memorizing it, and practicing with it over the course of the week, so that by the end of the week you feel like you've mastered that particular topic. This helps ensure that you continue to make progress, because rather than becoming a jack of all trades and having an okay understanding of lots of different things, you end up being able to speak really well and understand really well specific elements. And this doesn't just apply to vocabulary. Another great example is grammar. And although I'm not a big fan of diving into textbooks and studying grammar in the kind of traditional way that we're all used to in schools, I do think that when you reach an intermediate or advanced level, sometimes you'll start to notice there's particular tenses or structures or cases, potentially, depending on the language, that you struggle with or you don't understand. And when you get to this point, I think it's good to just have a little focus. This doesn't mean going back and trying to memorize a list of rules from a book, but this means maybe taking a week to focus on that point and get a better understanding of it. So I encourage you to give something like this a go. Identify one of the weaknesses that is causing you the most issues in your language learning at the moment. What's stopping you from using the language in the way that you want to? Identify one of these things, and I encourage you to set a goal for yourself over the coming week to work specifically on this weakness or this issue and try and master just this one thing. Rather than trying to learn a lot of things without much focus, by focusing on one particular problem, you'll get to the end of the week and you'll have done something that makes a real difference to your ability to use the language fluently. This is much more effective than just learning the random words that come up over the course of the week in your practice. Of course, you want to expand your vocabulary and make it as wide as possible, but if you're not practicing with focus, you're not practicing as efficiently as possible. And while you may still learn, you won't learn as much that is going to directly impact your fluency over a short period of time. So I encourage you to try using short-term goals like this to improve specific weaknesses and try and boost your conversational fluency in your target language. If you do set some short-term goals like this and try out some of the concepts we've talked about in today's video, please leave me a comment below and let me know how you get on. And you can also read more about this particular topic and various other language learning topics at linguamaterna.com. When you can also contact me there to tell me a little bit more about your language learning and about the short-term goals that you're working on right now.